round 4 of the Champions Cup. Let's go in through the preview, going through every single game. We did have Ulster play Exeter earlier today. It is a bit of a late preview for me, but I want to try and catch the rest of the weekend and really put through everything for the games. So Ulster did come through with a win against Exeter. Unfortunately, I'm pretty certain Exeter is going to be, they're not going to qualify, and they have no hope in bloody hell, especially after this win. Ulster winning 52-24. Pretty good game. Izu Chukwu really putting a name out there for himself, putting in a big performance, scoring a hat-trick of tries. And we had tries from Izuchukwu, McCann, Timoney, Herring, Carson, and then conversions from Doak and Cooney. Exeter did manage to get a couple of tries from Brown Bampo, Vincent, Tuima, and Wimbush, converted by Hayden Wood and Skinner. Unfortunately, things have not gone Exeter's way recently, and their form is really showing. I mean, you look at Exeter's last 6, they lost, losing to Ulster, losing to Bordeaux, losing to Leicester. They beat Gloucester, losing to Sale, and losing to Toulouse. It just wasn't getting any better for them, and unfortunately, they're not going to have any hope in Hull. So that was Pool 1. We go into Pool 2. Now, this is going into, would be today, and we got some really good games. So we have Claremont versus Bristol, Benetton versus La Rochelle, and then Leinster versus Bath. Now, I don't have too much hope for Bristol in this one. My money, even then, both teams haven't exactly been in the best of forms. Bristol are absolute monsters when they want to be, but that comes down to when they want to be. They are so good. But then again, so is Claremont. But you know what? I'm going to change that. I'm going to say Bristol's going to win, not by much, but they are going to win. Like I say, they don't exactly have the best of records, either of them. Claremont's lost 6. They lost to Bath 41-21. They beat Van 2019. They lost to Montpellier 22-18. Lost to La Rochelle 2015. Lost to Leinster 15-7. And they beat Benetton 28-0. But you look at Bristol, they just beat Benetton 35-29. They lost to the Saris 35-26. They lost to Sale 38-0. That's a bit of a spanking. They beat Leicester 54-24. They lost to La Rochelle 35-7, and then they lost to Leinster 35-12. Pretty much every single one of those games were very difficult games that Bristol lost, but we know just how good Bristol are going forward. So I'm gonna give the edge to Bristol here, and I think they're gonna win, not by much, maybe 3-5 points, not by much. I think it's gonna be a very tight game. And then we have Benetton versus La Rochelle. My money is on La Rochelle on this one. I don't know. La Rochelle, they put up such a bloody good fight up against Leinster. It was a bit of a shame that they lost. It could have gone either way, depending on a couple of calls during the game. But I mean, you look at their record. So they lost to Leinster 16-14. That's a ball hair away from each other. They managed to beat Toulouse 22-19, and we all know just how hard it is to do that. They lost to Perpignan 21-13. But then they beat Claremont 2015. They beat Bristol 35-7, and then they beat Bath 24-20. These are all top teams. We all know how hard it is to beat Bath and to lose. So, and for them to lose just ever so slightly to Leinster, this could have been a completely different record. But then we look at Benetton's last 6. So they lost to Bristol 35-29. They beat Zebre twice. This was in December, in the space of a week. 24-12 and 11-10. They beat Bath 22-21, lost to Clermont 28-0, and then they lost to Edinburgh 50-33. So Benetton, they are no pushovers, like, at all. They are not to be underestimated, but my money is on La Rochelle for this one. And personally, I feel this is going to be a big one. I think La Rochelle's going to get it's going to get the bonus point. They're going to get more than 4 tries. I'm thinking they're going to get around 5-6 tries personally. And I think it's going to be a very long day, a very, very long day for Benetton, unfortunately. And then we move into Leinster Bath. Now this is a spicy one. Leinster versus Bath. Oh, all right. Leinster are killing it. They are killing it. I think the only team that's above them in the rankings is Bordeaux. And with the way Sam Prendergast is playing, they're going to carve open defenses. I mean, let's go through the last 6, right? So we're going to start with Bath. So they beat Clermont 40-21. They lost to Northampton 35-34. Very, very close one. They beat the Saracens 68-10. Beat Newcastle 40-15. Lost to Benetton 22-21. And then they lost to La Rochelle 24-20. So you look at the games, generally high scoring games, lots of tries here, big wins. The losses were very minimal. You're looking between 3 and 4 points for every loss. But when they win big by like 20, 30, 40 points, right? So they are so good going forward. They can be a little bit leaky when going back, but I still feel it's not going to be easy for Leinster, not at all. But the way Ninaber, he's got them playing, he's got them with that Springbok heart, right? That they are so resilient. He's bringing out the best in the Irish and the South Africans. And I don't know, it's going to be a difficult one. It's going to be a very difficult one, but Leinster, they're going to take it. Personally, I think this is going to be a very high scoring game, but Leinster have it. That was Pool 2. Pool 3, we've got the Bulls versus Stade Francais. Stade Francais is going to hammer them, unfortunately. I hate to say it, especially when it considers a South African team, but the Bulls, they've already been eliminated. There's no two ways about that. They just have been playing horribly, and yeah, my money is on Stade Francais. I'm going to say not a big win, but not small either. So 10, 12 points. Now, the game of the weekend for me is going to be Northampton versus Munster. First of all, I am a Saints fan, but they are going to win. So yeah, I got Northampton to win. It's going to be a difficult game. Munster are no pushovers at all. Again, I just feel how competitive all of these leagues are. They are so strong. You know, anybody can beat anybody. And now, obviously, Northampton and Munster, I believe they've both already qualified. So the pressure is off. They don't really need to do that much, but obviously they still want that win under their belt. But let's look at the last 6 for the Saints. So they lost 45-35 to Stade Francais. Obviously, they're not working with their full squad, but that's neither here or there. No excuse. They did beat Bath 35-34. That was a hard-fought game. They beat Newcastle 61-0. That was an absolute slaughtering and fully deserved that win. Showed just how good the Saints were going forward and how good they can actually defend. Unfortunately, it's not like that consistently. So hopefully they will change that and make it a little bit more consistent. Then lost 39-24 to the Saints. To the Saracens. They beat the Bulls 30-21, and then they beat Castres 38-8. So all in all, a little bit up and down. I mean, that has been very much the Saints season this year, up and down, destroying one week, not the other. But all in all, the Saints, they're doing pretty well, already qualified. They're working their way back into better form. 2025 looks to be a pretty good season for them or year for them so far. Hopefully they just continue to improve, have players like George Furbank come back and start really solidifying that defense and making sure that attack is ticking, and ticking well. So we look into Munster's last 6. So they just came off of a win up against the Saracens, 17-12. That's not an easy task to do. They did lose to Leinster 28-7, but it was to be expected, unfortunately. No matter how many rival arguments you want, or I hate him, he hates me kind of thing, Leinster deserved to win that game. Leinster deserved to be where they are right now, and there's nothing that can be said about it. So yeah, that was a heavy loss. They did beat Ulster 22-19. Castres, they lost 16-14, and then they beat Stade Francais 33-7, and they beat the Lions 17-10. It's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be a hard-fought game. We're going to see what the lineups are going to be, who's going to play. But, I mean, with the Saints, you look at the way that they played up against Stade Francais. They went in so strong, so hot in the first half, and then look what happened in the second half. They crumbled, like a bloody pie. They just ended up looking deflated. Their lines kept breaking. They were tired. It just wasn't the same Saints come that second half. So it's going to be interesting to see which Saints come through, and I hope the champions come through, as I would think they would. But you never know in this cup. Like I say, everybody is good enough to beat everybody, and not just that. Everybody is good enough to give each other a spanking and barely let the other team get 5 points on the board, depending on how they play, which team decides to show up, right? And which team really decides to pull their finger out. So for me, that's going to be the biggest game. That's happening Saturday, 3:15. Definitely, for me, the biggest game to watch for Saturday. But, that's just me. I am biased. I am a Saints fan. But let me know what game you are most excited to watch on Saturday to see. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We move into Pool 4, Harlequins versus Glasgow. Now, this is a difficult one. Personally, I'm going to give this to Harlequins. I do like watching Glasgow play, and I feel a lot of their players are going to be called up for the Six Nations. But yeah, I don't know. With Marcus Smith, anything's possible. And I think they're raring for a bounce back, and I think Glasgow are going to be prime for that. So we look into the last 6. Harlequins, they lost to Toulon 33-21. They beat Newcastle 38-14. Drew up against Leicester 34-34. That was a brilliant game. That was such a bloody brilliant game, and that really could have gone either way. So yeah, that was something special. They lost to Gloucester 14-0. They beat the Stormers 53-16. And then they lost to Racing 23-12. So some of the losses here aren't exactly the best. It's not like they're up against the biggest teams in the world. But like I say, everybody is capable of beating anybody. So yeah, Harlequins, not exactly the best. Up and down, up and down. The past 6, they actually had more losses than what they did wins. But you never know. Glasgow are coming in relatively hot. They beat Racing 29-19. They lost to Edinburgh 10-7. They beat Edinburgh 33-14. They then lost to Toulon 30-29. They beat Sale 38-19, and then they beat the Scarlets 17-15. So they're actually coming in the harder of the teams, with 4 wins out of 6, so 4 wins, 2 losses. They are coming in relatively good form, but it's just something about the Harlequins, which I feel they are gonna show up. They're raring for that win, and I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna put Glasgow, to the fire, and really, really gonna show up. And I really hope Marcus Smith pulls his finger out and really makes something happen. Because no matter how prominent you are within the game, if you're not making anything happen, you shouldn't be there. So, yeah. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to win? Personally, I got the Harlequins, even though they are not as in good form as Glasgow is. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. And then we go into the Sunday games. Now, there's a couple good games here, but there is one in particular that I'm looking forward to, and that is Bordeaux versus the Sharks. So I believe both of them have already qualified. Bordeaux are currently top dogs. They are kings of the table right now. They are playing some of the best rugby in the world, some of the most entertaining rugby. They are not to be messed with. Good old BB is just an absolute monster. I mean, BLBRA, he's terrifying when he's on that ball. And they are just playing sexy, sexy, sexy rugby, which I love to watch. Like I say, they are quite possibly my favorite team to watch right now. But my heart kills me because I'm born and bred Sharks. So it's going to be a tough one. But my heart says the Sharks. My bias says the Sharks are going to come through with a win. But my logic and what's inside here, it says Bordeaux, and it says Bordeaux by 20 points. So I don't know which one to follow. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. What do you think is going to happen? Because Bordeaux is playing such fast pace and electric rugby. And no matter how physical the Sharks are, look at what happened up against Toulouse, right? They they can't afford to have that happen again. And on top of everything, they are going to France. It was bad enough Toulouse came to South Africa and made a mockery of the Sharks. They are now going to France to play Bordeaux at home. The most informed team at home. Yeah, my head says Bordeaux, and it looks like the stats show Bordeaux as well. Let's look at the last six. So the Sharks, we start off, we start off with the Sharks here. Okay. So first of all, they lost to Toulouse, 28. They lost to the Stormers, 24-20. They beat the Bulls. They beat the Bulls. Way. 2017, they lost to Leicester, 56-17. Absolute bloody push spanking. They then beat Exeter 39-21, and then they beat the Stormers 21-15. That is their past six, right? Outside of getting an absolute boost club from Leicester 56-7 and being made a mockery of up against Toulouse. Now we go into Bordeaux. Are you ready? I'm not. I'm looking at it right here. I'm not ready for this. Okay. Bordeaux lost six. Okay. First of all, they gave Exeter an absolute spanking, 69-17. They then gave Stade Francais a spanking, 46-19. They then beat Toulon 21-17, and Toulon's no pushover, don't get me wrong. They did bloody well. Castres managed to keep the score relatively low, but still not able to break down Bordeaux, 13-3. And then they gave another spanking to Ulster, 14-19. Yes, that team that just won today with scoring 50 points could barely get 20 points on the board up against Bordeaux. Brilliant game, but yeah. And then they gave a spanking to Leicester, 42-28. And yes, it is that same Leicester squad that gave the Sharks, a Boost Club, 56-17. So, yeah. Here, Bordeaux. Here, the Sharks. Yeah. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below in regards to that. Toulouse versus Leicester. I can't see further than Toulouse in this one. Cannot see further than Toulouse. They are too good, too strong, too quick, and to match. You know, they pretty much a Kanye West song, and yeah, my money is on Toulouse to win that one quite easily. Sarries up against Castres. Again, last 6. They beat Munster 17-12. Sorry, they lost to Munster 17-12, beat Bristol 35-26, lost to Bath 68-10, beat Northampton 39-24, beat Stade Francais 28-17, beat the Bulls 27-5. So all in all, pretty good. Castres, they beat the Bulls 49-10. Pau, they won 24-19. They lost to Bayonne 33-12, lost to Bordeaux 13-3. Munster, they beat 16-14, and then they lost to Northampton 38-8. And yeah, Saracens, for me, they got that one on lock and key. We're gonna see the Sarries beat them. And then Sale versus Toulon. My money's on Toulon. Sale's last 6. They lost to the Stormers 40-0, Gloucester 36-20. And then they ended up beating Bristol 38-0, Exeter 28-10, Racing 29-7, and then Glasgow they lost to 38-19. Toulon, they beat Harlequins 33-21, Racing 36-24. They lost to Bordeaux 21-17, but then they beat Pau 56-25, Glasgow 30-29, and Stormers 24-14. So all in all, pretty good. I got Toulon to win that one. It's not going to be easy by any means, but my money's on Toulon. So let me know what your thoughts in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe, as it really does help my channel grow. And I just want to be providing you guys with the best content physically possible. So hopefully this video has given you enough confidence to earn your subscription. And on that note, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.